After midnight in the neighborhood of Sibil, Homs City, we joined a group of HTS-affiliated fighters on their regular patrol of the place where they grew up.
والله العظيم إنه هاي ما دمرت بالطيران ولا بالقصف، تدمير يد.
Homs was called the capital of the Syrian revolution, but these are the homes and the streets where the people who rose up in it were massacred. Abu Abdullah was 18 when it all started, joined a local militia, fought Assad soldiers and Hezbollah fighters street by street here.
الخوف عندهم شديد إنه لا تقلب مثلا إنه يرجع بشار الأسد على الحكم، ترجع الشبيحة وترجع المشاكل وترجع الضرب والقصف والطيران والقتل والعنف والتعذيب والسجون.
After years in Idlib, he's returned to Homs, not just the victor, but part of a security detail, charged with looking after both his Sunni and Alawite neighbours. The Alawites are the Shia sect from which Assad drew his support and populated his army. We will come to how Abdullah processes this soon. But first, he takes out his phone and shows us videos, some set to music, of how Assad's soldiers tortured his compatriots. And in the silent ruins of his destroyed home, all you can hear is this.
هذا اللي خلاه ينقتل هذا النظام.
We had met Abu Abdullah the day before by chance as we were filming the destruction. These are the communities where returning Sunni militants are living cheek by jowl with Alawites, some of whom they fought against. This time, people like Abu Abdullah are in charge of keeping the peace. But there's a lot of painful history to unpack on these streets.
بعد ما دمروا وخلصوا فكتبوا العبارة هاي: هذا من فكر أن يحارب العلويين. فنحن هاي شطبنا عليه بس إنه الطائفية اللي عندهم.
The Gardenia Tower overlooks Abu Abdullah's neighborhood. Locals still call this place the Tower of Death. During the siege of Homs, Assad snipers killed hundreds of people from here.
برج الكاردينيا والقناصين متواجدون عليه.
One of those snipers could be in this crowd. Outside a police station in Homs, against the backdrop of the destroyed city, hundreds of ex-regime soldiers in the final stages of handing themselves in. A handful of former militants, now part of the country's official security apparatus, processed the surrender of this huge crowd. Neighbours, Sunni and Alawite, who try to kill each other on the front lines, now face to face in orderly queues. Surrendering isn't just a matter of waving a white flag, it's a complicated administrative process, and this is the final stage in that. These men have already handed in their military ID, and today they come in to collect their new Syrian ID card. The Alawite soldiers, Assad soldiers in this group, are literally walking into that building as Assad henchmen, and they are coming out as citizens of the new Syria.
أحمد منيف زيفي محمد هشام الحلوي.
Yusuf Osman says he was a mechanic in Assad's army.
بحال انه ما في لقمة عيش اني اكلها رحت لها اتطوع بالجيش اكيد ما كان في الي سبيل يعني ما في حياة سبيل كان سابقا اني اكل يعني.
Do you feel any guilt about your role in what happened in Syria over the years?
طبعا كان في حقوق مأكولة بالنسبة لي طبعا.
Basil Salah says he was a driver with one of the infamous military intelligence branches.
نحن فكرنا انه جايين العالم بدهم يذبحوا العالم كله. ما هذا التصور اللي كان بعقلية كل البشر اللي اجت. بس طلع غير هيك بنوك.
What is the feeling among the Alawite community now? Do people feel afraid?
ما فيك تعتبره خوف. فيك تعتبره من يعني كيف من فئة معينة. اللي عنده كيف بدي لك اللي قاتله اللي حدا قاتله هذا اكيد بده ينجبر انه يجي عليه.
Senior military figures in Assad's army have either fled the country or been arrested, and there is a vetting process of sorts taking place here. Outside, Basil boards one of the buses with his new Syrian ID. They're being brought to a local hospital where they've volunteered to give blood. We didn't see signs of coercion. The men on this bus literally compensating for blood spilt. Some of those men will be bussed back to the Sibyl neighbourhood where we started. In the Alawite part of the area, the buildings are not as badly damaged. The Assad family weaponised their Alawite minority identity to maintain control. We meet Ranad, her husband Mohammed and their daughters. How vulnerable does she feel now that Sunni militants are policing her neighbourhood?
أما هون نحن كحارة هون اللي ما عليه شيء أبداً ما حد يقرب صوبه، وأنا هون من 18 سنة وحتى ما أفكر أطلع برات حمص لأنه هاي بلدنا وبنحبها كتير.
That night, Abu Abdullah and his men patrol both Sunni and Alawite areas. They're carrying sidearms but told us that they kept them concealed so as not to alarm Alawites. And to the big question, can you fairly police a population who you in part hold responsible for what happened here? For a young soldier we met by chance, he is remarkably on message.
والأوامر الحكومية عند جينا إنه ما نقرب ولا نحكي. هلا الدم خالص، الدم يعني خلص الماضي راح مع الماضي.
No one's under any illusions here about the potency of sectarian tensions. But if the people who know where that ends and don't want it again get to decide, then on the dark streets, a light flickers. Syria is in an incredibly fragile, precarious position at the moment. Israel is striking ex-regime military bases along the coast. Western economic sanctions are still in place, crippling the economy here. And coupled with that, as you saw in my report, thousands of returning soldiers who haven't got paid in months, who are returning to the rubbles of their homes, who don't feel there's a prospect for their future. Also a world, remember, distracted by what's happening in the White House. The one great hope, arguably, though, of this new government is the resilience of the population here. Every single person we meet on the streets here in Homs and Damascus desperately wants this new project to succeed.